Some serious fireworks on Capitol Hill as Dr. Fauci returned to testify publicly for the first time since retiring 2 years ago.
The accusation being circulated that I influenced these scientists to change their minds by bribing them with millions of dollars in grant money is absolutely false and simply preposterous.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I think most of the country would find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
But look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
Did the COVID vaccine stop transmission of the virus?
That is a complicated issue.
That man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in prison.
I ask you to give me a yes or no as to whether you believe these measures were justified. Business closures?
Early on, when 5,000 people were dying a day, yes.
Church closures?
Same thing.
School closures?
Again.
Exclamation point. He, aside from some of the, I think, the pathetic nature of the hearing, the substance of the hearing, I think, was appropriate. What were your thoughts on the substantive questions and some of the answers that Dr. Fauci gave?
I'm always disappointed by these hearings because it tends to divide, and it becomes like the person becomes a soccer ball that gets kicked back and forth. And I just remember there was a long time early on, if you questioned the draconian response, you were condemned. You were accused of not taking COVID seriously. And I took it seriously, but you saw experts like him choose the short-term benefit of fear over the long-term benefit of restraint. And now we're paying that price. Experts saw incentive in fear-mongering because they were portrayed as heroic. They amplified their media footprint. They got book deals. They got speaking deals. This was an accelerated version of the 30 to 40 years of climate hysteria. If you were a climatologist or a scientist, and you embraced that ideology, you went up. That's exactly what happened here. And the irony of Fauci, he wanted to put people 6 feet apart. He put them 6 feet under. Because remember, that was the foundation of all the enforced isolation, was the 6 feet apart. When you walked by somebody, you would get all freaked out. There were people, you could not see your sick relatives who died. That happened in my family. People with autistic kids that were in the hospital, they could not see them unless you had some kind of power. People in recovery couldn't go to their meetings. There were overdoses. There were suicides. Kids lost a real education. And why? Why? Can we figure out what was worse? Was it COVID or our response to COVID? Because if we're still going through our response to COVID, and Fauci will not be remembered as the hero that he wants to be, he'll be remembered as a villain. Just like Jesse.
DP, I thought...
There's still time. It's not over yet for me, Greg.
I thought one of the things that was interesting about the hearing is they were trying to figure out the theory of the origins of coronavirus. Were you convinced or persuaded by Dr. Fauci's answers, or do you think we've gotten to the bottom of this?
I think that he could look back and he could draw lines and say, look, I said I was open-minded. I was open-minded. I was open. But we lived through it, and so it's like one of those things of like you could believe it with your own eyes. Like this is what was happening. Is that there was definitely a way to downplay it. If you thought that there was a lab leak, you were called a racist. You were called a conspiracy theorist. But now, even on there was bipartisanship on the committee. Even though they don't necessarily all want to go after him, I get that. But the consensus about all of this leading to or originating with the lab leak, that's getting pretty close. And there are a lot of people who don't want to punish China for it. And that's maybe a topic for another day. The last thing I would just say is that on the fact that the 6 feet rule was made up and we're still dealing with all of this, we had priests shooting water from squirt guns at church because they wanted the 6 foot rule in place. And to know that it was just completely made up is really, really upsetting. And it is the root of all the things that happened. Changed work forever, led to all the inflation we have today. It's really shocking.
Judge, what are your thoughts about Dr. Fauci in this hearing?
Well, I think that Dr. Fauci, I think the man is a totalitarian dictator type. There's an article in the New York Post today that talks about NIH scientists who made $710 million in royalties from the drug makers, a fact that they tried to hide. But I think more important than that is how they destroyed Americans' lives. The tension, the fighting, if you weren't 6 feet away, someone screaming, my daughter has asthma. I remember we were in a Dunkin' Donuts and someone was too close to her. I remember, we were saying, how great the truck drivers are and how great the people are who are filling the shelves and the nurses. And then all of a sudden, if they didn't get a vaccine, they were public enemy number one and they had to lose their job. If you're in the military, you don't get a vaccine, you're out. But I want you to listen to just 2 points, and I'll end at that. This is to Fauci. Do you recall discussions regarding the 6-foot threshold and how it began? He says, answer, I don't recall. It just sort of appeared. Did you see any studies that supported 6 feet? I was not aware of any studies that did. But he was out there pitching 6 feet. Second point I want to make. Question to Fauci. Do you recall reviewing any studies or data supporting masking for children? And we all know that children suffered exponentially in terms of their development, in terms of their ability to speak, in terms of their social interaction. He says, I might have reviewed studies about masking for children, but I don't recall. And then they say, well, if you don't recall studies, have you followed any of those studies? No. And they say, but we now have studies that talk about the impact of masking kids. And he said, well, I think it's still up in the air. He doesn't even follow the studies.
Prime Time, you were a skeptic of some of these things, some of the things that the government was asking of the public. And you were also a believer that this thing could have emanated from this lab. Does this not make you feel good about your argument? Where do we go from here?
Yes, it makes me feel very good about my
I
argument,
was saying
Harold.
3 years ago.
All right, and Dana preferred the squirt gun communion.
Oh, you did?
Blood of Christ right to the mouth from 6 feet was the way to go. I actually requested Jesse Jr. get baptized via squirt gun. They denied that request, though. But Fauci is guilty, and he shut everything down because, like Greg, he's very old. And COVID affected the elderly more. If you were under 50, it wasn't as deadly. And so he freaked out because, as I said, he was guilty because he funded it. He trained Bat Lady. We knew what was going on in the lab. And it was a sloppy lab. It broke out. And then he scrambled and tried to get everybody to line up and deny it. And then he had, hey, guys, we want to write a paper about how this came from a bat and had nothing to do with the lab. Oh, great paper. Here's $9 million. That's how it went down. That's exactly how it went down. But I heard we have Pete Hegseth up next. So I'm going to shut my mouth.
We have him up in the next segment.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.